Very good morning. I'm so flattered to have such audience today, and hope that the topic of my presentation will please you. I'm going to talk about commissioning, and my intention is to share with you all some international definition about the process, explore the objectives and the benefits of the commissioning process, highlight the importance to well define the operating needs of a building. I will try also to explain the difference between testing and commissioning. Unfortunately, those two terms are very often confused or mixed up. I will try also to see the opportunities of the commissioning applied for existing buildings, and also I have to intention in my presentation, first of all, is to encourage the European building industry to use a full scope commissioning process outside the UK. And I must say that concerning commissioning applied to existing buildings, the US has a more advanced approach than the UK. Well, I'm not exaggerating if I say that commissioning is among the top 5 topics in ASHRAE. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there are a number of publications, certification, and course produced by ASHRAE. And you know ASHRAE mirror the standard of the building industry. I will say that building owners and managers love to have well-designed, built, proven, maintained, and operated buildings. Of course, occupants, they are delighted to work, to live, to be recovered, to study in comfortable, efficient, reliable, and safe buildings. To both ends, commissioning is a quite instrumental and essential process in order to achieve both ends. Let's share with you a number of issues that we can find in new building projects nowadays. Ambiguous, unrealistic, and unachievable owner project requirements, the needs of the building. We don't spend enough time to define them in the beginning. Gap between the design solutions and the really OPR or owner project requirement, those needs mentioned before. Design solutions that they are not well communicated downstream to contractors and to operation and maintenance staff. Poor construction and testing work. Underperforming buildings. Not well trained operation and maintenance personnel for this specific building, and poor available documentation, preventing building managers to take any action when it comes to modification, enlargement, renovation, name it. I love the definition from ASHRAE as commissioning as a quality process focused on verifying and documenting that the building is designed, is built, is proven, and is operating according or to meet the owner project requirement, those operation need, and taken over by the well-trained operation and maintenance staff. There are some other that we can use as well. But you know, the definition I love for commissioning is to make sure an owner gets what they have paid for, which is a fit-for-purpose building. What is the primary intention of the commissioning process? Well, through the different project phases to fulfill this owner project requirement, from the pre-design phase well into the occupancy phase. And what is important, once the building is handed over, to deliver some KPIs to monitor the performance of the building during its life cycle. Let me share with you these definitions, this OPR. And I must say that creating detailed, completed, realistic, achievable owner project requirement, that will make your building work and a very successful commissioning process. What are the main ingredients in the OPR? Well, project objectives, occupant demands, regulations, local, federal, regional, state, a precise budget and a good planning to meet, and criteria about sustainability, indoor environment quality, maintenance, building materials, measurement and verification, and O&M as well. How the commissioning is going to meet all of this during the project phase? By reviewing the design and the submittals, but making thorough site inspections, but validating the test result, by validating that the O&M personnel is well trained, by deliver a precise system manual, and by programming seasonal testing and deliver a continuous commissioning program or an ongoing commissioning program. How in hell commissioning is doing at the design phase, or even at the pre-design phase? Well, the purpose or the intention of the commissioning is to check the ability of the design solution to meet the owner project requirement, but also to double check the ability of the design to be tested, to be maintained, how easy it is to access the different equipment, how easy it is to repair them, how easy it is to replace the main component, to interchange, to enlarge the systems. All of this should be reviewed at this stage by the commissioning process. What is the difference between commissioning and testing? And I must say that in the US it's very clearly defined, not that well defined in Europe, where they mix up both terms. Testing is all these activities performed after the construction and before the handover, and done by the contractors and sometimes the manufacturers. When commissioning starts very early at the pre-design phase and well into the occupation phase. Let me share with you an example of a good practice in the US. You know, an owner or developer, an investor, call them, when he's thinking about building a project, the first two disciplines that very often are hired are a project manager and a commissioning manager before an architect gets on board. Well, you can see what the different testing, as I said, is done by the contractor or the manufacturer and then validated by the commissioning individual, team, agent, name it, from factory testing into field testing. And what important is what we call the functional performing testing, is the graduation exam for the building. Let me add two things on this slide. Two good advice. First advice, to have the BMS 100% operational before the adjusting and balancing is performed. Advice number two, get the operation and maintenance staff on board for the testing. That is the best training shot for them. There are a number of deliverables by the commissioning process. Call it the OPR, a commissioning plan, checklist, issues log, system manual, commissioning report, final one, and of course the ongoing or continuous commissioning plan. Let me share with you some benefits. First of all is to monitor that these needs of the buildings are achieved, deliver a good and robust documentation, have a smooth handover, less number of deficiency, less repetition of tests, less snag, thanks to have on board a commissioning process, fewer callbacks during the warranty period, improve indoor environment quality, optimize maintenance, validating O&M staff, reduce demand, save energy, comes second. First is taking care of the occupants, and improve building system reliability and extended equipment life cycle. About the key factors for success, is important, and now I'm talking about new building project. Two things. First, well, normally hire individuals with the expertise of commissioning, have full support from the owner or investor during the project, dedicate enough budget and time for these activities. Sometimes I'm very pissed off when I get that comment. What is commissioning? I know what is commissioning. It's an activity slowing down the delivery of the project. Sometimes I don't like this type of comment. Submit a review, and it's important as a key factor for success, having a good cooperation with the contractor, because at the end of the day, they will be involved in delivering the test results. Time flies, and all of a sudden, the owner project requirements that were defined at the pre-design phase are not longer valid. They might have changed. And then our building is not fulfilling, our existing building is not fulfilling the 2 days requirement. If the gap between the 2 days requirement and the requirement defined when it was pre-designed is enormous, or is too big, for instance, well, not missing the regulation, probably we have to undertake a major renovation. If not, and happen in 90% of cases, existing building commissioning is an excellent strategy to give an existing building a second chance. Let me talk about it. I say, yeah, why the requirements have changed? Yeah, they have changed because maybe we have a new owner of the building. We have new tenants. We have new criteria when it comes to comfort, sustainability, operation, maintenance, warranty, name it. Maybe also because there are new regulations to be applied. And maybe because the real estate market has changed. So what is the definition about existing building commissioning? Well, it's also a quality process in order to see, to verify that the building is meeting this current building's requirement. Doing what? Doing planning, investigation, identifying improvement opportunity, not that expensive, cost-efficient improvement opportunities, implementing the selected one with some, of course, financial criteria, and then deliver a thorough program to keep and to maintain those improvements over the rest of the life of the building. How an existing building is done? What are the different phases? First of all, we have to select a building. Not any building can be subjected to an existing building commission. There are some of them, and we will share with you some criteria. We have to collect some information from the existing archives and operation and maintenance personnel. Define the today's requirement, the current facility requirement, and in the investigation phase, to double check the building performance towards the CFR. If in the meantime, when doing the investigation, we find opportunities, small repairs, small adjusting, small balancing, we have to do that. We have to take the opportunity to sort them. If not, we will issue a big list of improvement opportunities, and then we will select them from a financial point of view, normally with a payoff period less than a year. we will then implement them and hand it over the building. It's important that also before the occupation, we audit the training, if there is any need for the OEM personnel training, and also the documentations. And what is very important in an existing building commissioning is to put in place a continuous commissioning program, and I will let you know why. Objectives: verify that the CFR, the current building requirements, are achieved, are met. Reduce demand and save energy. The best source of opportunity for improvement are in the control, operation and maintenance of the building. Improve indoor environment quality. Optimize maintenance program. Detect any need for further training for the O&M personnel. Extend life cycle equipment for the equipment. And of course, try to keep those improvements the rest of the building life. Criteria to select a building suitable for an existing building commissioning process. Forget an apartment. Select a large building. Select a building with a lot of complaint, with frequent equipment failure, with a powerful BMS with training capacities. Check if the O&M staff are ready and excited to participate in the existing building commissioning process and they have available time. Select a building, an existing building, where there is a high motivation from the owner and the managers, where the documentation available is robust. Check if there are some utility incentive program to use, and check if the building, there is a strong interest among the building stakeholders in making the building more efficient and more reliable. What is the typical finding when investigating an existing building? Poor performance of main equipment, equipment close to the final life cycle, not well-defined sequence of operation, no tight ductwork, pump and fan that can be oversized, unbalanced air and water distribution, temperatures not optimized, unbalanced pressure in the building, name it, speed variator set at maximum load, poor indoor air quality, poor maintenance plan, whatever, is a very important source of findings. Well, when it comes to the savings, for energy savings is in the range from 1 to 6 euro per square meter, and for non-existing energy saving from 1 to 4 euros per square meter. And let me share with you the main deficiency identified in the energy system when doing the investigation phase on an existing building commissioning. 63% are found in the air conditioning system. About the nature of the deficiency, 72% are in operation and controls. And when it comes to the non-energy benefit, a big portion of it is to extend the life cycle of the different equipment, improve the thermal comfort, and improve also the indoor air quality. So the main areas where the benefits can result into. You know, I think Jeff is your university. Is your university the Texas A&M?
Oh, it's close.
Well, you know, that they say that most buildings lose 30% of their energy efficiency in the first 3 years of operation. And I mean, why? Let me say what the continuous commissioning, which is a different commissioning strategy, does. The continuous commissioning is the continuity of the commissioning process after the handover, with the primary intention to monitor that the OPR, the requirement of the building, or the today requirement of the buildings are met by scheduling some activities or testing over the life of the building. So once we deliver a building with a commissioning, remember we deliver some key KPIs, we have to track them, to measure and to act according to the result. And that is what the continuous commissioning are doing for an existing building. You see that it's very simple that I'm trying to describe a bit how the performance of the building decline or is deteriorated after the handover by some clear reason I mentioned earlier. If you do some continuous commissioning, then you prevent this fall of the performance of the building, and then once you do some tunes up, some existing building commissioning, also partial or major renovation, you can just lift a little bit the performance of the building. Let me finish saying that commissioning is about people, it's about process, and it's about knowledge. It's also about documentation, it's about communication, and it's about investigation. But the most important thing is teamwork and overcoming challenging and difficult barriers during the life of the building. Thank you very much.